Greetings. Welcome to part part 3 of
See?
our session 0.
Oh yeah, see.
Okay, because it's session 0. Yeah, I know. It's convoluted, but who cares? This is kind of our session 0 series where obviously we've done our character building and now we're fleshing out our characters. And me and Annina today are going to talk about your character, who, even though it's on my screen right now, I'm still going, now, how do I pronounce this again? It would take me a while to get used to.
Illyria.
Oh, Illyria. Now, have I got that spelled right then? So I've got Illyra. I feel like I'm missing a letter.
So after the Y, it's R-I-A.
Yeah, okay. That's why I got it wrong. Okay.
Illyria-ki.
Disa. Illyria-ki Disa.
Which I've really now like the name.
Yeah, I mean, my apologies in advance if many members of the community start spelling it without the I after the R, because that's what shows up on the screen in the actual session 0 where we built her out.
Wayne,
I'm sorry.
you need to change it for the campaign.
It's changed now. It's fine now.
No, it's so you actually spell and name.
Yes. No, that way. That way, right there. All right. If those of you who haven't watched Callum's one with Duggar, we are gonna go through the different roleplay questions that I've put various videos out on YouTube for. We're gonna go through the species ones, the class specific ones, and the background ones. Although not in that order. We're gonna go in life order. We're gonna go species, background, class. To help kind of fill out this concept of a character. Now, obviously, everything is subject to change, because this is like a brainstorming session which you are witnessing live. Me and Annina have really not had any conversations about Illyria, as you can tell, because I couldn't even spell her name correctly. Yeah, so we haven't had much conversation. This is happening live in front of your very eyes, which is, of course, the whole point behind this video. So, yes, this is all just kind of idea generation, which is what those questions are for, to then hopefully feed into whatever backstory Annina sends over for me to traumatize her with later. Shall we? Oh, actually, before we get started, just to recap, because by the time this has gone out, it will have been a couple of weeks since the actual building of the character. We obviously rolled those traits that she had based off of her stats and her alignment. So could you just remind everybody what those personality traits were? You should have about 6 traits, I think.
I have 4.
Okay.
We rolled 4.
Oh, hang on.
I don't
sorry,
like...
no, 4. 4 is right. 4.
We have 4, yeah. I don't like the last one, but I'm going to keep the first 3.
Yeah, I mean, you can drop it.
Yeah. Currently leaning on lawful neutral. And again, I don't know if it's just me. I find the alignment thing really, really difficult. But within that region...
Would you like me to define?
No, I don't, because it's just a case of how my brain thinks versus how it's written.
Sure.
See what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I conceptualize it differently, so I find it really hard to be like, choose this.
Yeah.
But yeah, lawful neutral is where we're currently hovering.
Okay.
The traits are poised, indirect, loyal, and it was pragmatic, but I don't like pragmatic. So that will change to something else.
Why don't you like pragmatic?
I don't think it doesn't suit her.
Fair enough.
The sense I have of her now doesn't suit her. I think she's not... Yeah, nah. It's not...
Just doesn't fit.
Not saying she's not pragmatic at all, but that's not her approach to things. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So yeah, that one is not staying. The first 3 are staying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. So we'll go, as I say, species, background, class with these questions. So hopefully these will help to further fill out that character concept that
Yeah.
you have. So, starting then, now Illyria is an elf, a wood elf to be precise. Now, I haven't yet created subspecies specific questions. That's for much further down the line. But we have core elf questions, which should do most of the heavy lifting for you anyway, and then maybe you can fill out the rest.
I think I chose wood elf just because of the buff/traits.
You made a meta choice? How dare you? No, I'm joking.
I do make those two rare. So yeah.
That's fine. That's cool. No, I mean, in fairness, some of the species buffs in 2024 D&D are pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. And also, I mean, you get the boost to speed, if nothing else, which is pretty cool. As a monk, that's going to make you super, super fast.
Yeah.
All right. Looking at the elf questions then. Now, this one is, the first question is rather specific to the cosmology of the the D&D multiverse. So I'm going to change the questions slightly. And this might be a tricky one for you to answer, in fairness, as an opening question, but we'll see. So what is your connection to the gods of Elvenkind and the ancient Elven history, in so much as this idea that elves were once granted the ability to change their shape, but that was taken from them? Or so is that something that weighs heavily on you, or is that something that actually doesn't bother you because you're more focused on the present?
I think Elfie is wise. She's young enough to not. It is history. It's like reading old history, but she is drawn to that idea, and ideally, she would want to ascend back into being able to do that. So it's to her, it's like a hero story that she kind of idolizes.
Okay.
And she's read a lot. She's read a lot about elf history. She's well read.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a connection there, but not a. It's an emotional connection versus actual experience.
Sure. Okay. So something that an idealism as opposed to
yes, I think that's a good way of describing it.
That was not the answer I was expecting from what they're doing in Illyria, so that's interesting indeed.
I want to know what you.
Well, I just thought so that there was the obviously it mentions, is there more of a focus on the present? And I thought as a monk, she might be a little bit more focused on the here and now rather than looking back at history. But given the fact that she is also a scribe, that makes a lot of sense as well.
And also, did I say she is not pragmatic?
You did.
This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons. So, I think her focus in the now would have motivation in that.
Okay. All right. Okay. See, we are learning things already. All right. So, switching focus now a little bit. Her being an elf means that she has a longer lifespan than most of the other species of the world. So how does her long lifespan shape her perspective on time, but also the relationships that she might have built up? Because obviously, living for such a long period of time, for what in human years, what could be a decade or two could be over in the blink of an eye, for example, in terms of elf years. So how does that affect things? But also, does she view interactions with the other races, the other species that don't have such long lifespans? How does she kind of view them? Because obviously, the likelihood is, unless catastrophe happens, she's probably going to outlive most people she meets that aren't elves.
As elves go, she's quite young. I mean, she's well into being an adult still. not even close to middle-aged as an elf. So she's aware of that, but I don't think she's experienced it a lot. She's not experienced yet a lot of and someone of another species dying of old age before. The people she's lost, she's lost them to, I think, things that would make more sense to elves, like violence or accident or things like that.
Yep.
So I think she has not learned that lesson yet. But what I do know is that she does feel other being an elf.
Okay.
Because one thing I did ask you, cheekily, not on camera, was where she is now, how many elves there are, and there are not too many. So she does have this feeling of being other.
Okay. So presumably then, in your mind, where she is now has been for some time. She's been there for some time.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. I
Depends what you mean by some time.
Do you know?
Like,
I'm gonna name drop here because I did do a bit of a name drop of region in Calamity. So where she is now, which is the tidbit that I will give away as opposed to where she was, is the region known as the Windmere Vale. So
yes.
for those following along at home, we now have Windmere Vale and Cordrath have both been.
I know something about Callum. I want to watch it so bad. I do want to watch it so bad.
All in good time and all in good time. All right, cool. Next question then. Now, this question again is a very kind of official D&D multiverse, but it is relevant because the equivalent of this is in existence and in play, though it may not be named this, it may be named something else. So you can kind of think in general terms here. Obviously, specifics may be different. What is Illyria's thoughts on the Feywild and its influence on elves? Assuming, again, because this is brainstorming, assuming everything that you know about kind of baseline D&D, assuming that all of that remains true, which, again, subject to change, but assuming that remains true, how does she feel about the Feywild? Like, does she feel like a deep connection, or is that something that is just a distant aspect of her heritage in her mind?
Seeing as this is your world,
Yep.
I didn't think Feywild would be a thing. So I've not thought about this for a second.
Okay.
That's
right. We can brainstorm live.
Yeah?
Yeah.
First, what's coming up now?
Take.
Why do I sound like I'm in therapy? And
what's bubbling to the surface?
What's coming to the surface now? And she would have read about it. What my instinct is. Okay, question for you before I ask your question.
All right.
Do people have experiences of the Feywild in your world? Like, is it somewhere, someone go there should they want to go there?
Not on a whim.
Not on a whim.
But there certainly will have been stories.
But just stories, not, I know how to get there, this is how you do it, even if it's difficult?
Not commonly, no.
Yeah.
And anyone that would be so bold as to make such claims would probably be seen as probably a mad man and or woman.
She would have probably been around people who would have made claims.
But also, you're an elf.
Yeah.
Who, in this world, are looked at with suspicion.
Yeah. Okay, what's coming up? What's coming up for me now? Whether she broadcasts it or not, it would be a place she'd want to go to.
Okay.
Yeah. She would want to experience it.
Which I think matches up with the first question, right? With that kind of like idealistic view of like wanting to be able to ascend to OG Elvendom. I think, I think that tracks. Okay. Interesting. Okay. We know obviously that you are a wood elf.
Mhm.
So how do you feel that being a wood elf would have shaped her abilities?
Mm,
Or indeed, how the environment might affect her choices as well.
Let me go back to my notes because I remember thinking about this. Well, we discussed where she was originally from. So it affected that. It gave me a picture of the kind of places grown up. How big are the differences between the different types of elves? What's the most noticeable difference between, say, wood elf and the other two elf? There's three? Yeah, there's three.
Yeah, so you got high elf,
Yeah.
wood elf, or
Drow. Yeah. Obviously, drow is distinctly different, but
Mhm.
high elves and wood elves, how big is the
Well, interestingly, like
difference?
the high elves are kind of the more studious
Yeah.
of particularly high elves and wood
Mhm.
elf. They're much more about. Interestingly, I think Illyria is going to sit somewhere in the middle because
Mhm.
her scribe background kind of makes her more suited to high elf
I
tasty things like that. Wood elf, wood elves are much more. Feral is probably a strong word, but they are
got you.
much
Yeah.
more kind of like a little bit more roguish, a little bit
Yeah.
more like they're the ones. I can't remember how much I've said on camera about elves in my world. It's the wood elves actually the ones more likely going to do the excursions to find the stuff. Really try not to say too much. But yeah, they're the ones that are going to go off
Yeah.
looking for things. Culturally.
Before I chose which type she was, I was thinking she'd be a high elf. That was my first hunch. But then I looked at what you got being each type
Mhm.
of elf, and I had to choose wood elf. So
Now you got to make that square peg fit in.
it's a slightly different shaped fucking oval, isn't it? Rather than thank you. You're doing wonders for my self esteem. Laughing at my jokes.
I got you.
Yeah, it would have. I think having a wood elf definitely played a part in why she became a scribe, why she did that, even though she now would live, well, at the moment, pre our campaign, it looks more like the life that a high elf would live.
Sure.
But I don't think she would have become a scribe or a monk had she been a high elf.
Okay.
That's my question. That's my answer.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. This one I think might be one of the easier questions for you to
Okay.
answer here. How does her elven trance state impact her approach to rest and reflection?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just follow-up questions just to kind of give you a little bit
Cool.
more context. So
Mhm.
obviously, unlike the other species who actually sleep
Mm-hmm.
as part of their rest, being in trance is like obviously meditation, as you know,
Yeah.
which allows you to stay aware of your surroundings. So kind of the extra context question, if you will, is are there sort of memories or meditations perhaps that she might focus on during the trance or anything like that? Just kind of what's your general feel of a trance for her?
So what does it look like?
Not necessarily what it looks like, but
Where does she go? Yeah. Where?
yeah, yeah, like what's going on mentally for her during these
Okay.
trances.
Okay. I think she forgets other races can't do what I was doing.
Right. Yeah.
And it's frustrating for both sides. I definitely think that's the thing. It's like, oh yeah, well, see you in 4 hours. And they're like, and I'm like, there's that.
Stupid humans.
Yeah. Like, how could he get anything done? And she has a very specific approach to her trance state, and it is very ritualistic. She does the same thing every time if she can.
Mhm.
She'll do exactly the same thing every single time. Because I kind of want to keep it as the point.
Okay, that's fine.
That's what I'm giving you.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Okay, so obviously elves very much connected to the magics In this particular world, that's going to technically count as like primal magic in a way. But it exists within the elven blood because the gods put it there eons ago. That all tracks. So, again, elves connected to magic. They are magical beings just by their very nature. So, what sort of role does magic play in her sort of everyday life?
I know she wishes she was more magical in obvious ways. She is a monk and not, say, a druid. So I think she's got a lot of respect and sort of awe for people who can harness actual, more apparent primal magic. Again, I think it's something she would aim for, but she doesn't have it now, apart from being a elf. So I think currently her only connection is what she looks like, actually. Right. And like innate elf traits. Nothing, no poof.
It's not showy, flashy magic. It's just kind of all elves are going to have access to the same stuff. So it's, I guess probably stuff she takes for granted.
Yes, quite mundane, everyday things. For elves, like a Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. So does she have any particular strong feelings about any of the other types of elves? Do you think?
I think she's probably heard other wood elves talk down high elves and been talked down to by high elves. Unsure as it's your world, but I don't think she's met many a drow, if any.
She wouldn't have, yeah.
There you go. So
highly
she doesn't.
Unlikely that she would have met any. Yeah.
So never met a drow.
How do you think that might impact her if she did meet one?
I think it would be a mix of like fascination and a little bit of fear.
Morbid curiosity, perhaps.
Yeah, morbid curiosity. The high elf wood elf is that sort of. I don't think she has. She doesn't have the prejudice some other people would, and she finds it stupid. Because in a place where there's so few elves, come on, like, we really aren't that different, high elves and wood elves. Yeah. I think she would find that silly. But she's definitely witnessed it, experienced it, but I don't think she cares.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, bit of context pre-question. Obviously, again, elves, very long lifespan, as we've touched on. Which is also going to mean, presumably, that they will have had quite a wide range of experiences. Even as a young elf, such as Illyria, even with that short lifespan relative to other elves, she's probably had more experiences than most humans will have experienced in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So, have any particular events significantly impacted her ethics, her worldview, maybe shaped her sense of morality or anything like that, do you think?
Definitely. I don't know what those are yet.
Okay.
But definitely there would have been something, because she definitely chose a very specific life and very different life.
Yeah.
But I don't have the catalyst event in my mind.
Insert traumatic event here.
Yeah. I was trying not to make those.
It's not an Annina trope, it's a D&D trope.
It's an Annina trope. That's not meant.
Well, I've only had did we actually do deep backstories for Taelith? I don't think we did we?
I wrote a little thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't like the saga one, which was.
No, but that was definitely traumatic event,
Mhm.
but it was
No,
the hardcore years of trauma that I could write an entire novel out of for start. Like this, that I could write a novel right now, and their entire life. Off we go. Like Taylor is a lot more vague. But yeah, I do know the sort of life changing moment for Taylor.
sure.
I don't have it for Illyria. I know where she is, and I know where she started. I don't have the middle bit. Question mark.
Question mark. Yeah, still trying to. But do you know? Even though you might not necessarily know the event specifically, do you know the change that brought about in her?
No,
I suppose it's
not
hard until you know the event.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it is not a full personality change that Saga went through. Saga went through as let's see how big fans are, because she quoted that old Saga's dead.
Sure.
She is dead. She's the Saga she was does not exist. Full personality change. I know Illyria isn't that. Definitely something that changed or made her ethics very strong.
Sure.
But not I was this person, break, now I'm another person. Not that.
Yeah, it's from what little I know, it seems to me like it's more keeping the past at arm's length rather than trying to pretend it didn't happen. Which is
So I don't think she even keeps it. Was I?
no.
I think it's this was me younger, this happened, and now I'm here.
Oh yeah.
I
was
think it's
young, I
more
was
of a
stupid, and now things.
yeah, I think it's more before I knew things, and now I know things.
Okay.
It's a lot more gentle than that. Yeah, a lot more gentle.
Okay. All right.
Look at me trying this.
Well, no, this
In 2 years' time, when we find out what traumatic backstory again.
No, but this is what all of these questions are all about. It's just posing questions that maybe necessarily you hadn't thought of, or even if you have thought of, just trying to maybe take them from another angle. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, and no different answer.
Okay. How does she navigate that tension between kind of extremely long life and that fleetingness of mortal, in inverted commas, life? Is she
I
kind of
think-
ignorant to the eagerness, perhaps, of younger races, or
There's pity, honestly. You're in such a rush, you never get to breathe. Poor you. It's not malicious pity, if that's even a thing, but I think there is pity. It's like, how are you not constantly panicking? In a blink of an eye, you're dead.
yeah, it is.
These are inside thoughts, people. These
is-
are her
It is probably the elven like being told that you're going to probably not survive to 100 is probably like an elf being told they've got months left to live.
Yeah,
It's probably the equivalent, I guess, isn't it? I suppose I hadn't really
It's
thought in English terms, but yeah, it is probably kind of like, oh dear, that must have been a bad day. You found out you wouldn't live to 100. Hey, it's like no.
Yeah, it's like, when it's like you've got 15 years left because you've got a certain type of cancer. That's what it would feel like, kind of thing. Yeah, I think there's pity.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about. I also think it's incredibly ironic that elves are the ones that need the least amount of sleep. They have the most years to live, and they're the ones that do not spend a third of it sleeping.
Yeah.
Lol.
Thanks, elf god.
Yeah.
Thanks for the solid.
All right. So last elf related question, which is more general, and I suppose may set the tone for everything to come for her later in life. What is her attitude towards adventure and exploration? I have additional questions if that helps frame it for you.
I'm trying to. She yearns for it more than she wants to admit.
Okay.
there. I think that's good answer.
Okay. Did you have any elaboration, or is that it?
Do you have a follow-up question?
I mean,
'Cause
I have more framing questions rather than necessarily follow-up questions.
I don't know what else to say. Yeah, she wants it more than she feels like she wants it more than she should.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to ask a follow-up question.
Okay.
I'm going to go off script.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Why do you think that is?
part is you, and just to be clear, she's not young. I'm imagining if she was human, she'd be 27, 28.
Okay.
So not a teenager, but also not quite middle-aged. So
she's a young adult in Elven terms,
yeah.
which I think we looked at probably makes her around the 100-ish mark, I think was what we...
Well, 100-ish would be like 18. So I was thinking she'd be wearing like 170, maybe.
Okay, approaching
again,
200, yeah, I guess.
I think that kind of feels like not 200, no. But it has to be way past 100, because 100 would be like, you know,
So she's lived, let's say, about 2 human lifetimes.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you
160, 170 is when she is.
okay. So yeah, so she's kind of got that youthness about her. Why is it, do you think, that she enjoys it specifically more than she'd want to admit? What is it that's holding her back from?
Okay. I don't know how much to reveal. Like, how much should I leave for the stream? But
You can keep some cards close to your chest if you want to.
I just don't know how much. Basically, because she's a monk, it's the set of rules she follows and feels she should follow. Then, yeah, they're kind of not a direct contradiction. She should be concentrating on other things.
Not adventure.
Not adventure, not selfish adventure. But that efficiency things.
Okay.
So that's where she's like, I like it a lot more than I should.
Okay. All right. Sure. All right. Cool. Well, that's it for our elf questions. Which also means that's it for the questions that you have seen ahead of time. Also. So now we're going into true brainstorm territory here.
Okay.
Next up, after we've looked at species, the next kind of point of progression is how your background affects or impacts the character. So we're looking specifically at the scribe here. And now you've not seen any of these questions, so this is complete hot take, and again, subject to change. But give it your best shot, Annina, on what bubbles to the surface first. So, question 1 on being a scribe. Who taught you to scribe, and what kind of institution shaped your worldview?
The details are still fuzzy for me, but basically where she's learned to be a monk is where she's also learned to be a scribe.
Okay. All right.
And that is very much her world. That's where she learned her worldview and her approach.
Okay. So something like monastery, somewhere like that, presumably.
That kind of thing. It's not a monastery, but that's type thing.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I'm going more martial arts.
Sure.
Less religiously, more martial arts discipline.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's because I'm also a martial artist in real life. This is not me. I'm doing a fictionalized version of what I do. Because also I don't follow any. We have a discipline. It's not that strict. I am creating a character with a lot more, where the discipline is a bigger thing.
Sure. Like the driving force.
Yeah. The discipline is the driving force, which is also where I like adventure a lot more than I should. Comes from. Yeah. So there ideal Sheila's why being a scribe, being educated and well is price high in her discipline, not just what you can physically do, also what you can do with your brain, because again, it's self-discipline or discipline. So yeah, does that answer the question?
It certainly does. It certainly does. Kind of digging a little bit deeper now. And again, this is a hot take. What kind of documents and things do you think she would have specialized in copying or creating? Do you think? Because I think that one has quite a significant impact on how she might see the world, or maybe an area of expertise, perhaps that otherwise wouldn't necessarily come to the fore.
But what are all the different types of documents?
For example, maybe she was chronicling historical events, or maybe events in the let's say monastery, for want of a better word. Maybe she was somebody that scribed poetry or proverbs or
Got you.
teachings. Maybe it might be legal documents or cataloging knowledge or something like that, as an example.
Got you. So it wouldn't have been poetry. She's written a little bit, but that's not what she scribed. Usually not it would have been more practical than creative. I think she's definitely read a lot of history. That's what she's very interested in. But again, I don't think she would have scribed it much. She would have scribed a lot of their martial arts discipline. So quite, let's call it flowery technical text. Because that's big as anything I've come across in the martial arts space is exactly that's how I would describe it.
Okay.
It's technical stuff written in a very flowery way. And I think she would also have practical business scribing skills.
Okay.
Like things that like basic accounting.
Sure.
Like stuff like actual practical maths, like basic level knowledge in business. Here's a contract. I do think she's got very good handwriting.
I should hope so, as a scribe.
And yeah, I'll leave it at that. I have an idea, which may or may not come to the game.
Interesting. All right. So, how does she feel about the knowledge, let's call it, that she transcribed or scribed? Is it something, for example, that she might revere? Is it something that she might question? Something that she might wish to, let's say it was something like a teaching or maybe a record of some great deed. Is it something she might wish to surpass? Anything really? What are her feelings on what she's been scribing over the years?
I think, especially in the sort of the stuff related to her discipline, mainly reverence. And also it does feel like, because there's something she would interact with constantly, it feels like a textbook. You learn, this is what you learn, and you know how important it is, but there's a section you just can't go. And no matter how hard you try, you just do it. Everyone says you just need to just read it and you'll just get it, and she can't fucking get it. And she also doesn't want to tell anyone, can't fucking get it. That's what she feels. So it
Frustration.
there's definitely frustration with sections of it. The business side is like, this is boring, but needs must. I think, unlike me, she is good at doing boring stuff if she needs to.
Right.
She doesn't have executive dysfunction like I do in real life. That's the wish fulfillment portion of the program.
Yeah.
She does not have executive dysfunction.
This is the fantasy outlet for you.
Mm. It is.
All right. Now this one could be a potentially interesting one. It might throw you a little bit of a curveball here.
Mhm.
But what do you think might be the most controversial, or maybe even go so far as to say dangerous, text that she may have encountered? And what might she have done with it?
This is really interesting. I've never thought of this before.
Mhm.
This might change
Mm.
because I might now mull on this
Right.
and add it to my backstory. But my first hunch is she's not come across something like that because she's not experienced enough. They don't trust her yet.
Something classified.
Something you have to be level whatever. You unlock this knowledge once you have passed these stages. I think it's that.
Okay.
That's my first hunch.
But she
More
shouldn't have
things.
seen it yet. She's seen it early.
Yeah. Or she's not seen it at all. She doesn't
Okay.
know.
Sure. But it's something that she may discover later on.
That's the first hunch, but I might change my mind.
Well, if you do, I'm going to mull on that for some time.
Send me ideas. Send me ideas. Because I suddenly went, interesting.
I thought you'd like that question. I thought
Yeah,
that
did
would spark some fire up some neurons for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So to be revisited. But yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, at least you got a starting point of an idea there. Okay. What now? This is may also be a hard one for you to answer. But again, you've not seen these in advance because I wanted this to be brainstormy because this is kind of how you would do it, right? So the next question is, why do you think she left her desk behind, shall we say, whether that's metaphorical or literal? Why did she leave her desk behind to take up the adventurer's life?
This I can't answer yet because I don't know where we're starting the campaign.
Sure.
Because how I'm imagining her now, she is still at her desk.
Oh,
What's in my brain is that at the start of the campaign, she's at her
that's a
desk.
question for me to answer in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me a call to action.
That's cheating, Annina. I asked the question.
Hey, if I have to come up with one, but again, give me more information and I will give you an answer. Like, I imagined that maybe the other characters stumble upon where she is now.
Well, I was wondering. I've got a few keywords I could throw at you as prompt that might maybe fire some more neurons. Wanderlust, exile, assignment, curiosity, the big R word, or maybe a personal quest tied to something that either she had read or maybe even written herself.
Yeah, assignment. Assignment is what
You
feels most accurate.
Mm-hmm.
She's been put on an assignment, but there is also Wanderlust, which is maybe why she insisted on being the one doing it, perhaps. But that is what feels, yeah, I think it's an assignment. I think she's been thrown in the deep end rather than her.
Okay. All right.
I like the idea of having a character who knows something about why they're doing something and then finds out. And I like that. I like that idea.
Okay. See, now you got.
I like the word assignment. Yes, I like the word assignment.
Now, this question, I can promise you, I did not change or write when you said what you said earlier. But you're going to be like,
Which
oh, okay.
Mhm.
The next question is, what does her handwriting look like? And how do others react to it?
do people have strong opinions about handwriting?
Again, you have to think about, we're living in or we're set in like a
Yeah.
fantasy setting, right? So for somebody writing like they're writing scripture or like a Bible, because again, you're a scribe, right? So
Yeah.
your handwriting is probably going to be quite distinct to the point that in a world like this, probably people would have quite a significant reaction to a
Mhm.
scribe's handwriting. You probably wouldn't have a big reaction to Joe Bloggs's handwriting.
Yeah. Very.
But you're a scribe, right?
Oh, her handwriting is beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful. Think of the best calligraphy you've ever seen, but she can also change it. She can make it look completely different, like she didn't write it.
That's...
Having it, having it such a lunatic.
Does she have proficiency in a forgery kit?
I think I did.
Did you?
I think I did take it. If not, I'm fucking changing it. I have a memory of choosing forgery kit
Look.
because I have a calligraphy kit.
You do. I
Obviously.
remember you taking the calligraphy kit.
One has a forgery.
I'm gonna have a look now. Ooh, that's naughty. It's naughty. Does she have? So she doesn't have proficiency in a forgery.
Can we change?
I mean, if there is an option in your character creation to,
I think, because I think how on D&D Beyond it pops up is in one section it doesn't give you it as a choice, and in another it does. So I think I need to look at. I think I can keep both. I can keep calligraphy and forgery, which makes sense. So I'll need to toggle them. I'll let you know which one's which.
Ooh. Okay. I think that would make a lot of sense with that idea. If there is an option for you to take it, definitely. Ooh, okay. All right.
Look back at that. It's not cheating. It's talking to the DM about it.
Like the character creation stuff is malleable until it gets to the table for the first time.
Yeah,
I think.
So we will hash it.
That's a good one to flag. See if there is a way to get it, because that makes a lot of sense for what you've just described, at least. And could be. I just think it being a scribe and then being able to do forgery, I think translates over narratively so well.
That's why I was like,
just
and also those would be probably the only people who would be able to do it.
One would have thought.
Realistically.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. I like it.
Like I said, have it.
Thank you.
I knew you'd like that.
Yeah, I do like that one a lot. All right. Now, next question. Does or might she keep a record of her adventures? And if so, why might that be?
I can see how to keep a record.
Okay.
I can see her. An assignment would have to back. But I think she would also, again, in a soft focus kind of thing. I think she'd want to keep it as a memory of herself.
Right.
But this would be not against her discipline, but it's not wrong, but it's also like, why don't you concentrate in on X, Y, Z instead? Make sense?
So my understanding of what you were saying was it's more for her recollection than it is for anything else.
That would be... I can imagine her keeping a record for, especially if she's on assignment. That's part of the assignment, keep a record. And then she would also have personal, sentimental.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
Which isn't against her discipline, but also she would probably be gently told off because that is not important.
Sure.
See what I mean?
It's a lack of focus, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's not against, you're not breaking rules, but
Sure. It's just
not the best use of time.
right. Yeah. A lack of discipline, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that she would, as a scribe, do you think that this is kind of a follow-up question to the keeping a record of adventures and stuff? Might it be something that she might like encrypt or like use some sort of coded language? Or do you think it would just be straight as you read it?
She would definitely know how to encrypt. If and when she does that, depends. But she would definitely know how. Definitely know how.
Okay.
She would have been taught how,
Mm-hmm.
and she would have a sign if she should.
She's a sneaky one, isn't she?
She has the skills to be a sneaky one if
Yes.
she chooses to
If
be.
she chooses. Interesting. See, a character is starting to form in my mind now of who this player is.
See if she's anything like you imagine.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. All right, a few more scribe-related questions. Any mistakes or alterations that she might have made in past documents, either intentionally or accidentally? And if so, what consequences might have come from?
Definitely made unintentional mistakes, definitely.
Sure.
Definite. I can't think of, again, I might change my mind.
Sure.
Nothing comes to mind as what would have been a big consequence, but definitely in the beginning, I think she has been a scribe for quite a number of years. So now she probably doesn't really make mistakes, very rarely.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe then that's a sign that something's wrong with her if she's making mistakes.
Okay.
See what I mean? It's like, you made a lot of mistakes. Are you okay? In the beginning, loads. Now she's quite experienced.
It's your way of justifying if you roll low on attack rolls that it's just because she's having a bad day.
Figures out with gal. We're talking about writing. So, we all know I'm going to roll a fucking one. And instead of being this poised character I'm meant to be, I'm going to look like Sildar going down some stairs. We all know this going to happen. And we're just going to have to figure it out when it happens. But that is not the aim. But to answer your question, I'm thinking about this purely on the writing side rather than the monk side, right?
Okay. Sure. Sorry. I couldn't.
The thing is, we all know it's going to happen. I would just like to pretend for one session that maybe he might not. But apparently I'm not allowed to. I'm not even at the table and I'm being trolled.
I'm sorry.
Hey, do I not bring entertainment value?
We are all entertained. That's for sure. We are all entertained.
Yeah.
But yes.
And to answer the second part of your question, I don't think she's made major edits to a text yet. Might change.
Okay.
Might change. I don't think, because again, I see her where she is now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this might change, but I feel like she is right now at the desk, and when we start the campaign, she's suddenly not going to be at her desk. That's how I envisage it. I imagine her being in a quite structured life, quite routine life.
Mm-hmm.
So there hasn't been a need for things. She knows skills. She's been trained. But, training martial arts and being in an actual fist fight are two very different things. It's kind of not. See what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's how I imagine.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I went there. I've gone there again in my head. I'm picturing like
me punching myself in the face
a
in
fist
combat
fight with some like thugs, and like you rolling so low, and it just being like I
Where did
wasn't
I see
trained.
it?
I wasn't trained for a haymaker. They didn't mark their attack. I
He
wasn't.
wasn't close. You didn't pull his punch. Oh my god, it's gonna be that. I'm gonna have to do an ollie and literally change my entire character. Because the first time I get punched, I somehow punch myself in the face or something.
His first fight, she gets a bloody
Yeah.
nose. Like, oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I bet. I
Couple more questions on this one. What does she believe is the purpose of writing and record keeping? Is it perhaps to preserve truth, to document history, maybe even to shape history? Maybe as a way of serving a hierarchy, something like that? Or maybe even a higher power, perhaps, if one exists. What do you think are her beliefs in that?
being a scribe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she is a scribe to serve the discipline she's in.
Mm-hmm.
So she sees it as serving that, aiming for that.
Yep.
And she sees it as also very boring, practical, real life. You need this. And I think she is aware not a lot of people know how to do it.
Yep.
So there's pride in being one of the people who knows how to pride in your work. And she would have read stories where you can change what history was by editing it, but she does. That is only a story she's read to her, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how she sees it. So it's a job.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a job she enjoys, but it's a job, and she's very proud of it.
Okay.
I think the scribing side is her job, and then there's the discipline,
Sure.
which she's more passionate about.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
They combine.
Sure.
He's
But
with
it
the
is-
same people.
It's a means
but
to an
it's a job.
end, so there's no,
Yeah.
there's no like higher viewpoint of it beyond that.
No, she doesn't think it godly or holy.
Okay. All right.
It's a mundane, important thing
Sure.
to her.
Sure. That she's kind of been trained to do just because
Mhm.
that's what she was told to do, kind of thing. Okay. Final scribe-related question then. What tools or rituals do you think she relies on when she writes? So, for example, maybe she has a special lucky quill that she might use, or maybe she only uses ink that has been blessed, or something like that. Whatever.
Oh, she's got favorite pens, and I haven't thought about this before you asked this question. Yeah, plural.
She has it. She's a stationary.
Yeah, she's got a stationery. Yeah, she does.
Who can resist a nice pen?
I'm more of a journal girl.
Oh, you like a good notebook?
I love a good notebook, love a good journal, post-it notes. I can spend a lot of money in paper chase.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Right. In notebooks that I will never write in for fear that I change my mind what the notebook is for.
It took me many years to get over that, but I do now
I-
write in my pretty notebooks now.
Well, now that I run 5 to 6 games a week,
Yeah, you have to.
I know that those notebooks are going to get filled now. So that's good. But yes. Guilty as charged. Okay. Cool. So she has favorite pens.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Quills. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything beyond that, or just she likes a
I
station?
think she likes expensive ink,
Mm-hmm.
but she will use whatever she has.
Sure.
She likes expensive ink. Also, feels kind of guilty that she likes the really expensive ink. And I do think she likes colored ink. She likes a bit of gold ink. She, on occasion, likes to make it unnecessarily pretty. Yeah.
I am looking forward to the shopping episode now.
Right. Wait, make me Elven medieval paper chase. Go.
Or it's gonna. Or the other thing I'm thinking
Yeah.
is it's gonna be like, we have to leave so and so behind. leave them a quick note to say
Yeah.
where we're going, and actually just like,
Give me
note?
4 hours. Give me 4 hours.
No, you don't write a quick note. You must do this with care. It's like the best, like most
Yeah.
elegant pop to
Mhm.
the shops note you've ever seen. Buying milk.
Buy a toilet paper. In like the most beautiful cursive you've ever seen.
Yeah, with the big what's
Yeah.
the drop cap at the
Yeah.
beginning where it's big and
Yeah.
awkwardly elegant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the scribe questions. Now we really get into the nitty gritty of the adventuring side of things, or the adventurer side of things, should I say? In these questions related to being a monk. Now, these are the last 10 questions. So this might be a good starting one for you, because I think this is probably something that you may have given more thought to than perhaps anything else, I think, based on what conversations we have had. So the question is, what philosophy or discipline guides your training?
So she follows the discipline of her martial art. I've not fully figured out what's the details
Sure, but in
of
general,
said discipline. To me, I would just call it general, very based on general Eastern martial arts. But
sure.
that means something to me and might mean something completely different to you.
Okay, so what
Someone
would that mean to you in that case?
We don't have 4 hours.
Give us your best gone to the shops quick note. The TLDR.
Oh God, I don't do TLDR. I'll keep it short, 15 minutes late.
Sure. Yeah.
Short, concise. There's a quote. And I think it's been bastardized through history, but it is at least attached to a lot of Eastern martial arts. And it's the quote, it's better to be a soldier in a garden than a gardener in a war. I.e., it's better to know how to defend yourself and never have to use it
Sure.
than have to defend yourself and you
Can't
can't.
know what to do. Yeah.
So it's that. And the basic principle of when you know, and this is also based on my brother is a sensei. He's a
Right.
martial arts teacher. He is a black belt. I lost count after the 5th dan. He is a sensei. So these are also what he's told me, what his specific martial art does. They have a strong philosophy of, especially when you know how to inflict serious harm, is the last resort.
Yeah.
I know he's told me the aim is to get out of the confrontation without causing harm to the other person or yourself.
Mhm.
That is the aim. So I'm going to base it. So far, I'm going to base it on that. I might have to make it less strict for dramatic reasons, but that's how I'm going to view it in my head. That it is very much last result. Like, it's not can't wait for an excuse to fight.
So she's the opposite of a murder hobo.
For now.
So
Because I know how D&D works, so on the drawing board, or actually, that's what she should be. I am saying should. This is the philosophy she should follow. Because I don't know what's going to happen to her and if she has to change her.
Sure.
See for me.
Interesting.
Vaguely based on that, I will probably write some bullet points when they come to me. I need to come up with a name and all that jazz.
Okay.
Mhm.
Next question then. How does she perceive her internal power? So this is obviously referring directly to like the focus dice and things like that. The key, is it key to her?
Yeah, key points.
Is it just simply because I've changed it now to focus points?
Yeah, to make it less
to make it less
Culturally
specific.
yeah. Culturally appropriate.
But also it
appropriate.
does very kind of then kind of ask this question, which is how does a D&D 2024 monk perceive that focus power? Is it, say, breath control? Is it
Mhm.
a spiritual essence, life force? So in this case, that would be the divine magic, I suppose, in that regard. Is it like in that respect, I suppose, because obviously the gods are gone, so divine magic isn't necessarily an active thing, but that thing which I think we have briefly talked about of like the divine power within, or is it just raw willpower and discipline? How does she perceive what that power, that internal power is?
Is the question what she thinks it is? Or she thinks her...
That is what the question is. Yeah, if you were to specific, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just so I'm approaching it at the right angle. For her, it's a innate part of yourself you access through self-discipline. But it's really hard to access.
And that's what the training is for, presumably.
I mean, this is also in a lot of martial arts, is quiet your mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we have it in sword, stop thinking and trust your instincts. It's that, but yeah, it's being able to start. I think improv even has it. It's like stop thinking and do the first thing you think of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that kind of musicians have it as well, where it's like you play a musical instrument, don't you, Annina? Do you play? No?
Yeah. I attempted to learn the piano many, many years ago, but I'm not musical.
I think you've probably experienced it where you've got into the rhythm of it, and then the moment you start thinking about what you're doing is when it all starts going terribly wrong.
I'm a physical person, so dance has the same thing.
Sure, yeah. Dance is a great example as well, yeah.
Dance has a... I'm a sword fighter. Sword fighting has a... As soon as you think, what am I going to do? You're dead.
Yeah, it's already
You're
over
dead.
by that point.
Yeah. Dance has the same thing. If you overthink it, you're going to make a mistake. It's that I'm a...
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a far better physical performer than a musical performer.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Anything else to add on that? Or are you happy with that?
Her focus. Do you think she subscribes to the idea that some people, i.e. the people who end up in this discipline, are more naturally attuned to it?
Sure.
And see what I mean? It's like basically talent. Like,
sure.
Do you have the thing? Do you have the X factor, which then will make you good at this?
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
See, she does subscribe to that and sees that as her gift. She will probably never admit it, but she does think that.
Sure.
A little bit of a sprinkling of I'm a little bit special, which I think scratched it. But yeah, it's the things people don't want to admit.
Sure. Okay. So why do you think she chose the path of being a monk over, say, being a traditional warrior, like a sword wielding, like a knight or something like that, for example?
I think she was kind of headhunted, and also like someone saw potential in her and then sort of showed her what could be, showed her the way, and then she grasped hold of it with both hands. Plus, I think it is also elven. She's got long limbs. She looks slight.
Sure.
Kind of thing. It's a mix of what she looks like, what she appears as, versus someone finding her. But yeah, I think she stumbled upon it.
Sure.
That's how it is. And also, I do think it is... She doesn't want to be a mercenary. She doesn't want to be a knife for hire because she does have moral ideals, and that goes against.
Mm-hmm.
She does love the fact that I think she probably surprises a lot of people because they see an elf scribe. He probably looks very slender with these long legs and doesn't look that strong. She's gonna secretly love that. Absolutely love that. Like me and Saga both look like we can flip a cup. Illyria does not look like that. I'm very broad. But no, if it translates on camera, I have ridiculously broad shoulders. Always have. I've looked like I can flip a car since I was 14. Like, Saga has that. Illyria doesn't. I think she looks elegant. She looks weak.
Sure.
Is not. Looks weak. She's gonna love the fact. She's gonna like that.
Dark horse is Illyria, isn't she? With her forgery, her ciphering, and her hidden strength. Interesting.
So yeah, there she's gonna love that. But yeah, she wouldn't be being a knight doesn't vibe. Being a knight or a gun for hire or doesn't vibe with her morality or her general vibe. She wouldn't. I don't think anyone would ever even consider her for a standard.
Sure.
Standard. I like the idea that if she'd rooked up the what was it called, Beach Leviathan,
Yeah,
they'd be like, okay, young lady, sit down, like the proper adults are talking, right? Because she doesn't look the kind of thing. Like, all people would think she's a barmaid. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
She doesn't look like. That was very obvious what she is.
Yeah. You only had to look at her and be like, give her money, she'll hit things.
Yeah.
Whereas Illyria is the complete opposite in that respect.
Yes. She probably looks like she should be working at the council, court working as a scribe. That's what she looks like.
Sure. Okay.
No, right. She doesn't look royalty, but she looks like she should.
Sure. Yeah.
Royalty.
She looks probably a little bureaucratic then, in that respect, maybe.
Yes. She looks professional.
Sure.
Like a better word. Yeah, like put together, professional, measured. See what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And then let's watch how I roll. Twice on every roll. And I will have to like force out poise and change her entire personality. But this is where we are.
This is where we are for now.
At session 0.C.
Yeah. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, this is the thing, and I think I said this with Callum's episode as well. And this is why I said this is all subject to change, because I think we all witnessed how quickly Johan changed.
I know.
From
Well
edgelord to
100%.
He
amazing. That was fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah.
Because again, everyone fell in love with the Johan who wasn't trying to be
right
an edgelord. But again,
Johan was the good guy that really wanted to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's and that added a
and it was just too sweet.
Yeah,
and too sweet, too innocent.
Yeah. We'll see. The dice will tell us, really, in many respects, won't they?
I fear what the dice will do. I fear. And his friends.
So, how do you think her monk lifestyle, or rather, not her monk lifestyle, her general day-to-day lifestyle, how do you think that is? How does her lifestyle reflect her dedication and her discipline? So, as some examples, maybe she regularly fasts or lives a simple life with no material trinkets or anything like that.
Can't work under these conditions. Isn't this the new computer?
This is the new computer, but it was running. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've pushed
You've
the
abused it.
pushed her to death. Pushed her to death. Poor
Um,
thing. All right. So okay. So let's try and pick up the pace in these as well, because
Re-ask the question.
I
you
shall.
asked. Yeah.
So how does her lifestyle reflect her
yes.
dedication and discipline? So, as some examples, maybe she might fast regularly. Maybe she might not take on any materialistic trinkets. Maybe she might have a strict training regime, avoid indulgences, maybe have rituals for how to handle temptation, things like that. I mean, maybe none of those things, but what's the sorts of stuff that might kind of leak into her daily life?
She does have a training routine, but there's training routine, like physical training routine, and also she has, like, I guess for a lack of a better word, like a meditation routine,
Sure.
a movement routine that she also has a movement routine that isn't full on hardcore training.
Sure.
So it's quite ritualistic in a way, just by how routine it is. So like she'll definitely have grounding techniques that she does all the time that might look really do you really have to do a grounding routine before you write a fucking letter? But yeah, it's that. It definitely looks pretentious. But she has her reasons, but
Sure.
it looks very extra, very pretentious. She dresses a certain way.
Okay.
Again, she dresses in very specific types of clothes that look normal enough, but she can move in.
Sure.
See what I mean? And I think their discipline is quite subtle.
Okay.
But they wouldn't have like everything has to be this color or this color. But there's definitely like these are the kind of clothes we wear, but make them look hiding in plain sight is the vibe. So they look very normal, but they're all like, I could drop kick a bitch in this outfit. Yeah.
Okay.
She wouldn't say that. That's something Sandra would say, but yeah, that is me.
Okay. Now you've kind of touched on this next question already, just organically through the conversation that we've had. But just in case there was anything you wanted to add, what does she believe is the purpose of combat?
Purpose of combat. Now, how philosophical am I going to go? It should be avoided. Like, she is very aware of how dangerous combat is. That has been instilled in her. Like, it's not only idiots run in eagerly.
Right.
Which is our entire previous party. She would think they're idiots, definitely. She would be like, you're idiots. Yeah, actual idiots. Yeah. So in a way, she's cautious, even though she knows she can handle it herself. It should be the last result. But also sometimes it is after a certain point it's the only result. Because it's this mix of like, you can't reason with some people are out to harm you. And if it's, combat to save yourself, combat to save someone, that kind of thing.
I think evil in that respect, maybe.
Yeah. Necessary evil to fight evil. I don't think she would use the word evil, but it's basically what it is especially because we're talking from game narrative aspects of it. Narrative gaming aspects of it. She enjoys combat in the discipline aspect, as does any martial artist, anyone who likes stage combat. You enjoy the combat in the framework of you're not gonna die right now. It's fun. Yeah, I mean, enjoys it from that aspect. That's what she thinks.
Okay. What does
she believes in self-control? She does believe in self-control. I think she's smart enough to. She doesn't have the same. She has different ego issues. She doesn't have the same ego issues Saga has.
Right.
Where it's very easy, which I found during episode 23, 22. Tell Saga, undermine Saga, and that's how you provoke her.
Mhm.
Undermine her. That doesn't work on her the same way.
Sure.
And I think it's the discipline.
Yeah, right.
Because Saga was trained. It was not disciplined.
Yes. Brutality.
Yeah, it
Whatever.
was. Yeah.
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 What does Illyria think about armor and weapons?
She thinks certain weapons are beautiful. She has small weapons herself. She thinks some weaponry is cruel. Some of it goes too far. You really don't need that to defend yourself. But she does think some of it's beautiful. I mean, a hunting knife is a weapon. At the end of the day, it's still a weapon. But it has a. So yeah, I think she classes it in different.
Sure.
She herself doesn't wear a lot of armor.
Mm-hmm.
Based on A, she's a monk. B, the type of martial art. Again, I think her discipline is all about hiding in plain sight. And she would feel like an idiot in full-on armor.
Sure.
I think she would feel completely self-conscious. I feel she would feel more in danger in armor because she would feel like she's come at me now because I am so heavily armored. I think she's been trained how to fight people in armor when you're not.
Yeah.
There's weak points, there's tricks, there's tactics. Now what's the word? I don't know these techniques. I just know there are techniques.
Sure.
I know some techniques.
Mhm.
I sound like a bloody warlord. I read a lot, people, okay? I'm a nerd. I was just aware of I sound like such a psychopath.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
Don't overthink it.
I'm a nerd that reads a lot, but yeah. So yeah.
And I'm sure almost everybody that is watching this probably falls
Yeah.
into that category too.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
It just suddenly went, oh God.
So, how do you think she responds to people who act without discipline?
Like disdain. But she'll hide it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Disdain.
Just pure judgment.
Yeah. Judgment. Yeah.
Does she try to educate or does she just simply judge?
That depends. I'm leaning towards someone she doesn't know. No, doesn't educate. If she got to know someone, she might feel compelled to try to educate. I think she might feel compelled to try.
Sure.
But if it's just someone she meets, no.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. She's just gonna stare and judge.
Nice.
And maybe give a slightly patronizing smile. Like this. This is also my customer service smile. Yeah. I didn't know I had a customer service smile until my friend who I worked in a cinema with went, oh my God, Annina, you've got such a customer service smile. The more someone pisses me off,
the bigger
the
the
more.
smile gets.
Yeah. The more. Yeah, I was like, oh God, I need to control my face. Yeah.
So,
So, yeah.
what do you think her relationship is with her body as a monk?
I think she's really quite utilitarian with her body.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So she sees it as like a tool.
Yeah, it's this tool that she takes really good care of so she can do the thing she wants to do. That's how she feels about most of her body. And I do think she has one or two physical traits that she's like, oh, actually, I like that. But I'm thinking it's like her hair or something that isn't like something that's just aesthetic. But she's like, you know what? I like the fact I have this. But she's really quite utilitarian, and that's from the years of training.
Sure.
So in a way, maybe slightly divorced from
Sure.
like how normally people. I think she could be frustrated with her body if it wasn't doing what she wanted it to do, but far less like a different relationship to the body than say the normal person who's like, oh god, I feel self-conscious and I mean, I think it's less that, but it's due to the discipline rather than her being sort of not bothered by it.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This might be my favorite one.
Hmm? Okay.
What inner conflict does she struggle to master?
Whoa. I think most of that question will be answered in game, but okay, I know what she won't struggle. She won't struggle holding her cards close to her chest.
Sure.
That'll be really easy for her. Maybe she'd actually struggle with when it's time to throw the first punch.
Mm.
She can. She will.
Mm-hmm.
But Saga was very hot-headed. And I think Illyria will have hesitation. Partially because she knows, like, once I do that, it's the point of no return.
So is her first round of every combat encounter going to be making persuasion checks? Are you sure?
She's not high in charisma. She's not high in charisma, so
That's true. That's true.
I think. Yeah, no, I think again struggle. What would she struggle with in combat?
Doesn't necessarily.
I mean, I think she would struggle with the fact that she's got a very specific fighting style and it doesn't have a lot of. It has versatility and not in it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Monk, you're close. You're melee. You're melee. That's it.
Yeah. You.
That's why I think she'd hesitate as
Sure.
well, because it's like.
Yeah, you're really putting yourself
It-
on the line at that point.
Either you're gonna win the fight, or you're gonna pay the highest price. I think
Sure.
that's what she struggles with. It's like, and it's not fear per se.
Yeah.
It's the. Yeah, I think it comes from actually knowing how violence works versus fantasy violence.
Sure.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. In cut to about a month from now, she will struggle with not getting punched in the face, probably. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, so how many years did you do monk training? But yeah.
So one last question. One last question for her.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is the biggie. Mm-hmm. What does she ultimately seek?
She seeks a certain type of enlightenment.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's what she thinks she seeks, anyway.
Got you. All right. Yeah.
Currently, she's quite tunnel visioned currently. Mm-hmm. This is the goal. This is the aim. This is the purpose of my life. This is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
This is how I'm going to try and get there.
Sure. And I'm sure some of that will be revealed in that backstory.
Yep. So currently, I think she would like. I think she would love to improve the world, but she doesn't know how much she'll be able to.
Sure.
So I mean, it's like once you've read enough, I think she's gotten to the point where it's like some of the pure idealism's gone because you've read enough history.
A little bit jaded.
Yeah, a bit of not jaded yet. Saga's jaded.
Sure.
Completely. Yeah. She's seen enough of reality where it's like, yeah, like can't make heaven on earth.
Right.
The pure idealism of youth is kind of gone.
Yeah.
Maybe I think she probably struggles with that, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but a certain type of enlightenment is what she's aiming for. What she thinks she's aiming for might change. I think her more than any other character I've made is probably the most open to something really changing
Mm-hmm.
what she's
Well, because I
after.
suppose the whole character is based off of a certain belief system that is grounded in theory rather than
Yeah.
necessarily anything concrete.
Yeah. And even the practice of that theory has been very sort of one context kind of
Yeah,
thing.
of course. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Quite philosophical at the end, but
Yeah. But she's a monk, right? She's it's going to be something that's going to crop up a lot, I'm sure, for her. Good.
We'll see.
Yes, we will. I'm starting to get a good sense of who she is, at least. It's certainly the neurons have been firing, and I've been thinking of it. It's really interesting. I thought I had an idea for an opening scenario, and then I did Callum's one, and I'm like, nope, different idea. And then with your one, I'm like, okay.
Nope.
And this is why I didn't do too much planning for that opening scenario, because I
Good.
knew that it was going to
Good.
change over these recording
Mm-hmm.
sessions, and I'm glad I didn't have it just laid out. It was all concept rather than anything else. So yeah.
So you don't have to crowbar it in.
Right, exactly. I'm hoping I can come up with something that is a little bit more dynamic around your characters. I hope, but it is starting to form. But I hope that was useful for you.
Yeah, it was really useful actually.
Cool.
Really, really useful. Like I've got far more of a mindset. Like I knew how she looked like from like the third person. I think I've got more of a mindset in there. More of an inner world,
which is the important stuff, which obviously we know as actors, but it's why I wanted to do these videos, because I feel like that's the missing ingredient when we talk about like role play with characters and stuff, and why I started doing the questions in the first place.
Yeah, when he surprised me with questions where I'm like, I've never thought about that before, and then you just go, yoink.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that stew and simmer for a bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal that, or like, I enjoyed this.
Good. All right. Well, we have one more of these videos to record yet with James and Maggie.
Maggie,
Gonna be interesting. And it's gonna be interesting because you don't know what conversation Callum and I had.
I know. I want to.
Oh, you broke up. You broke up a little bit for me there, Annina. But yes, it'll be interesting when you see it. I think you will find it. I think you will find certain things interesting. I think, because I'm already going, oh boy, having had the conversation with the two of you. So yes. Alrighty.
Are we gonna hate each other again? Are we?
I don't know.
If 2 years of hating each other.
I don't know if it will be hate, but I think that there may be some points of friction, certainly. But we will see. It may not play out that way at all. But yes, thank you everyone for tuning in to this. I hope it's also been useful for you to see how you can brainstorm some of this using some of those questions. And as I say, one more of these to go with James, and then we really are building up to the launch of the campaign with session 1. So yes, exciting times ahead. Awesome. Well, thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you all next week. Bye for now.